Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome back
Hello,
after a bit. Ooh,
hello.
who was echoing?
Echo.
It
No
definitely
one
wasn't.
at all. So
No
professional.
Off to our normal start. Let's be honest. Welcome back, everyone. It's been a minute. It's been a month since the actual campaign, and it's going to be another month until we get back to it. Welcome to the month of one-shots, everyone. Surprise. A group of queer folk are busy during June. I don't know why that would be.
I don't know who that could possibly.
No,
Not
I don't.
us.
I don't have any paraphernalia. Marvel, the gayest thing.
The gayest of the nerddoms.
Definitely, sure. Thank you for the level 1 hype train, everyone, and for the bits, Tato.
So many bits.
Fun fact: they're mostly just sleeping.
Bits.
I don't know what you're talking about. And of course, welcome Tato, Matt, Meandering Musings, a queer theory. Yes, it is time for D&D. The Ginger Guy, I already said Matt, and Molten and Azal Smith. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for the resub, Ginger. We are. I'm like doing my normal Twitch intro. How do I do this again? Welcome to the Brass and Briar campaign over here on the Black and Moss channel. Obviously, as you can see, we are a few less than normal. As I said, folks are busy. Hey, Dyson. But we're still going to dive in and explore other things that are happening in the world. Because funnily enough, the world doesn't stop turning just because our main crew is fighting in a coliseum currently.
No.
So, I do believe... Gotta roll for initiative, I guess.
I mean,
Yeah,
we just roll for initiative. That's right. We still do this. The less of us there are, the funnier this is.
Right.
At this point, we should do like we should do the two-sided dice, like just because it's 50-50, heads or tails.
Oh yeah, there you go.
We never get to use these dice.
All right, roll the d4s.
Yeah, I have it.
I'll roll the one that I just painted.
Odds are L and evens are Ruby.
Yeah.
Wait, doesn't that mean only one person needs to roll it?
Yeah.
Oh.
How dare you?
Yeah, roll it.
Or you each roll the odds and evens, in which one of you gets the higher on the even.
Roll.
Hey, what's that?
4?
4?
Was
Evens
evens
are
Ruby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So introduce yourself, Ruby. They don't know who you are.
Yeah.
No, I'm new here, guys. Clearly.
There we go. I like that one.
Hi, I'm Ruby. You can find me on my social medias, ruby.griffiths.8, basically across everything. I've started posting to TikTok again, so that's fun.
What? No one does that.
What's a TikTok?
Right? Yeah. I am the dice maker of the group. Note the dice I just finished painting. Pretty little D4.
I'm pretty sure most people in the chat have actually gotten a set or at least one Ruby dice at this point. I'm pretty sure, actually.
Or they should get on top of that if they do not, because they're the best. Ruby also... I don't know if anyone knows what my Curdice lives in. My Curdice lives in a little resin guitar that Ruby also made. This is the coolest shit on the planet.
It's true.
Look at this!
Ah. You can find her.
At ruby.griffiths.8 across social media. I occasionally stream games. I make vintage content. I've started showing off my teacup collection through making tasty little drinks on Instagram. I typically play Lavender Nittingham, a roguish raccoon, which we have a bunch of collabs with the full team, all in costume doing that. Super fun. But today, I am playing Bramble.
A throwback character?
A throwback character.
Amazing.
Who I love and adore.
As she flips furiously. Yeah. No Bramble.
That's Bramble.
That's Bramble. Our little jackalope, right?
Thank you for the sub, Druid.
Oh, hey.
Work can't stop me from supporting some of my favorite people. Thank you, Druid. We appreciate it. I hope work goes well for you. And up next we have...
me. Hi, everyone. I am Elle. You can find me at all the places that I rarely actually post to, but I do collab with a lot of other people, so I do things. I just am bad at posting my own videos. I am L.in.motion everywhere on all of the things. I just like to do all the things. I'm a little bit of a hobby collector, if you couldn't tell from the hordes of projects all around me. So I don't quite do one thing, I do everything. But I today will be playing Aglet, our other little throwback Robin themed Aarakocra. So he's just our little guy. He's here today. He's gonna help out. Him and Bramble are just gonna go help be heroes with Scree, because that's what they said that they would do after Scree left. So
building the resistance.
The resistance. But yeah, no. That's me. That's who I am, and that's where you can find me at. I do sometimes do art commissions from Ko-fi's, where I'm organizing those right now, though, and I've got a couple I'm working on right now that I'm going to have ready and posted by next month, I think, actually. So
that's so exciting.
I'm excited. But
the one you did for Ash is amazing. This is so good.
I like to draw, and I like to make good stuff. So anyways, yeah, so that's what I do. I like to do everything, and I have some art commissions open right now. So it's me. I'm Elle.
And the two folks who are currently not here are lovely KJ.cosplay, usually plays our little acrobatic duke, is currently off living the world of capitalism, and Scree may show up today. They're just doing some stuff, who usually plays Scree. You can find them both at KJ.cosplay on pretty much everything, and Scree the Rat on pretty much everything. And then I, am Zatara. Actually, not a new UI, Tato. It's actually a very old UI. We just switched to this one because there's less of us today. But hi, I'm Zatara. You can find me at Zatara pretty much everywhere except Twitch, which is where I mainly do stuff, which is Zatara's Tavern.
I like to imagine the audience is doing this with us, Ruby.
Yes. Everyone join us. Hype the DM.
I'm slowly building content I'm slowly planning content to make a resurgence onto actual social media like Instagram and TikTok. But money and capitalism makes it hard to do things sometimes. So catch me on Twitch. Or follow my Patreon, where every Tuesday I post a little excerpt of my fantasy novel I'm writing.
Woo!
I gotta write more of. Right. Anyway, don't worry about that. That's for me to figure out. Yeah. Thank you all for being here.
3.
Yeah, we're into chapter 3 already. And if you watch the campaign, you may notice some familiar names in my book, because as a GM of a long time, I've learned to not scrap ideas that don't get used, but just repurpose them. And I started writing the book before I started this campaign, and I thought the book had died. So some of the things are reused, and you may notice them.
Did the DM specifically send our party on just a reskinned quest that now their characters are going to go on in chapter 4? So I'm really excited to read that personally and see how they go about that quest. And
we'll find out this episode of.
Oh, it doesn't even have a name yet. But thank you all so much for being here. We have technically some announcements.
We have a couple of kind of announcements,
and I'm gonna throw that over to Elle as our resident announcement person.
Love it. So this is probably going to be our only of Lycan and Moss official kind of side campaign episode this month. Like we referenced before, we're all just kind of really busy and traveling, and making it time for everybody just kind of hasn't really worked out. So we're doing this one shot, and then we'll be having some other like streaming games, stuff like that. I believe Ruby and Zatara are planning to do that next week, week and a half, something like that.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
So our
normal streaming schedule will be not of like an Moss campaign game specifically. It'll be just a gaming streaming day.
Yeah.
All the fun. They only ever
maybe all day. I really want to.
You want to what?
What? Nothing. I said nothing.
Did you say date everything?
That's not what I said, but that would be entertaining.
I love how that can apply to Stardew and Baldur's Gate, so it's just like anything goes, I guess. Yeah. In any streams. Anyways.
Well, there's that new game that's like date anything, and it's literally you can date anything. It's like you click the telephone the telephone on the toaster, and it pops up into a
not refrigerator-kun and chair senpai.
Chair senpai. Oh my god.
If you guys, all right, to the audience, to whoever's watching this later on, if you don't watch a Sungwon show, you need to right now, immediately. He's the voice actor for Senshi on Delicious in Dungeon. Great guy. Right. He's awesome. Super funny and hilarious. Anyway, and has some of the funniest King Dragon skits and everything. Anyways, so Refrigerator-kun is a thing. That's good to know. I'm so proud of where we've come.
I wonder if he does a voice in the game, because it has a ton of voice actors in it.
I would be shocked if there wasn't some effort of collaboration from whoever made this game. But they may have just independently thought of this. Who knows?
Oh wait, I didn't know that this was Senshi's voice actor.
Yeah,
I've been following him forever.
Yeah, because he's a great content creator. He's super funny and a voice actor. Anyways, I didn't know that for a while either, and then I was looking at the voices. Anyways, back to anyway, animes. So
he does.
He voices
the refrigerator.
He voices the refrigerator. Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's beautiful.
I love it. We've come full circle, guys. Don't ever give up on your dreams. Anything can become something beautiful later on. So don't give up. Make silly content.
Exactly.
Just keep working hard.
Dude, don't worry about posting perfection, just post.
Done is better than perfect. So, to get back to it, this will be our one of Lycan and Moss campaign episode one shot for June. We'll be back in July for the main campaign. They will be doing a streaming day in 2 weeks.
Whether or not that's on D&D or gaming. Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't believe we have any particular events that we're highlighting right now exactly.
Not currently, no.
No. Okay.
Oh, well, just to answer a popular question that has been in the Discord of meetups and stuff, Ruby and I will be at South Idaho Ren Fair in August with a bunch of other people. Yeah. And the next known one for me that we're all going to be at is, of course, FanX.
FanX.
So those are, for those of you wondering, those would be the places to go.
Mm-hmm. I'll be at Salt Lake City Pride as well in a couple weeks.
Nice. Yeah.
But without further ado, I think we're going to dive in. So, intro. And so... Oh wait, I do rhymes. Right. That's what we do. We do rhymes. Across the pond with a weary yawn, today's adventure begins. Familiar faces and reference places. We might as well dive in. So, around you both, you find yourselves in a large circular chamber. The ceiling above you disperses into twisting brambles of the insides of massive branches. Darkness surrounds you, only broken up by small plots of glowing mushrooms held in place by planters that seem to be affixed to the walls like torch sconces.
Hydrate.
God motherfucking damn it.
Thank you, Feathered Hijinks.
Hey, water.
Mid-sentence.
What?
Well, we're getting character.
This glow, a mix of bioluminescent blues and greens and purples, cause a shifting pattern across the variety of faces you see here. For along with the shifting glow filling the space, the combative voices of 7 distinct peoples echo across.
Party.
Well, that's not really our problem. Here in the menagerie, we are very well equipped to handle whatever's thrown at us. Indeed! Your voice is drawn from a more large figure to that of a smaller form. Oval ears and a long snoot with whiskers splayed out in either direction. This heavily armored rat folk counters that of what looks to be his wolf compatriot. Even so, the people of the menagerie are worried. We've had disappearances throughout the past 4 months. And your court are feeling the same. The only folks that seem to not have been affected are the fucking Clasp and Elmloa. But Elmloa seems to be dealing with their own things as of now. A more husky voice emerges as, sitting, arms crossed, auburn hair billowing down in a wavy pattern as her 2 large flop ears sit, a Irish setter folk leans forward and goes, Amloa has been facing some issues, apparently. A shift in power. Mustel, have you heard about the truffle snufflers overtaken the rule of the city? The royal distinguished form of... Oh no, it's been too long. I forgot to look it up. Oh no.
Is it mom, dad, or grandpa?
It's mom. It's mom.
I'm going to not scream into the camera.
It's fine. It's fine. I just had to bring up Kerr's backstory real quick.
Lyra.
Lyra. Lyra Mustel leans forward. Hey, I have heard. That seems to be their problem. They didn't come to our aid, so we won't come to theirs. But these disappearances are a worry. We can't have our people, our trusted charges, thinking that we don't have control of the Wandering Wood.
This is gonna be so fun. Anyways.
I just open up Kurt's family for a second. Here we go. That's what I was looking for. Beautiful. McKellar, do your folk know anything? Leaning forward, a wiry-haired form, standing taller than Lyra Mustel. Black fur that kind of shimmers out to a gray, small squinty face with large whiskers and heavy clawed paws as a Binturong folk leans forward, his large club of a tail curling up and around the back of his tall-backed oaken chair. My spy network hasn't found anything, unfortunately. It seems as if these folk disappear without a trace. From the bundle nest villages of the lower wood to the gilded leaves of the higher, there is no sign or myth of where these people are disappeared to. Aglet and Bramble, as you stand here, kind of tucked into one of the back corners of this apparent council chamber of the Federation known as the Menagerie, you stand. Two young emissaries from the Velvet Clasp. Bramble, a promising diplomat who, over the past year, has worked her way, following her family's tradition, learning every language she can, any secret she can, until she finally gained the trust of her father to be an emissary to the Menagerie. Where, while you were sent here to watch and learn and try to form some new, just essentially diplomatic relations between the Clasp and the Menagerie, hopefully some trade deals as well, your real goal is to find your way into the root cellar of the grand tree that the main city, the capital city of the Menagerie resides in. For myth says in those roots, in the root cellar, is held the oldest library of the entirety of Teleday, with the Menagerie being the heroes of the past wars. They saved as much literature, as much information, as much history that was being destroyed by the Clasp as they could, and tucked it away within their libraries for safekeeping. And you, leader of the Resistance, started by you, Aglet, and Scree, before Scree left, are determined to find out what those secret carvings in the back halls of the Velvet Clasp Castle truly mean, and who these luck folk really are. And Aglet, you starting as a humble worker bee, essentially, of the Velvet Clasp, endowed to Bramble's family, has dedicated himself to being the personal bodyguard of the diplomatic envoy, Bramble. As you both stand here, surrounded by these towering figures of legend, the Mustel family, known as one of the most terrifying forces in the past war against the Velvet Clasp, holding the line and keeping the foundation and root of the revolution wrong. The Cairn family, a proud pigeon folk who managed to keep communication and the air completely in control during the revolution. The Bourne family, a family of wolven folk who were the original instigators, the original wolves of revolution, who turned against the Velvet Clasp and showed them that those ancient texts claiming that elk used to be prey was indeed fact. The Callum family, a rat folk who were absconded from the Velvet Clasp and joined with the Wolves of Revolution, first and foremost, riding them in droves and then leaping upon their enemies, drowning them by sheer force of number. The McKellar family, a reclusive sort. The Binturong are not very common in the world of Teleday. But though they are few, they are strong and often unseen. Their dark coats letting them weave in and out of shadows, their agile tails keeping them in the darkest corners to gather whatever information they could. They were integral to finding out the true weakness of the Velvet Clasp and using it against them. And then the Irish setter from before, the Aaron family, the main militia of the revolution, filling out every role from warrior to guardians to healers. The Aaron folk were the glue that kept every faction of the menagerie together. But no family did more for the revolution than the Brethnach Raven folk, the original ruling family of the menagerie. When they saw their people turn against the Velvet Clasp, they did not hesitate to join with their forces and lead the entirety to victory. In the end, relinquishing their power and giving it to their people, seeing that they truly were strong enough to lead themselves and no longer needed the guidance of the Raven folk. Now they sit upon this council not as a ruling position, not as any sort of figurehead, not as any sort of power, but just as a figurehead and overseer to the new ruling structure of the menagerie. It is in these halls where you sit, two young and honestly fairly insignificant folk amongst these titans, as they discuss the future of the menagerie, and mainly focusing on these disappearances. The Brethnach family head, Callum, leans forward. This large raven folk, bigger for his size than he should be, and ancient. You can see the feathers at the end of his kind of collar are gnarled and twisted and grayed out. His tail feathers nearly non-existent, seemingly scorched or plucked. He wears a large overcoat, high folded collar, and on top of his head, not a crown, but just a simple cap. Leans forward. It's concerning. It's true. These disappearances are far too reminiscent of stories that I wish to remain bits of the past.
What what kind of stories, sir?
As you peek up, Aglet, first, the other emissaries from the various other ruling factions of Teleday turn towards you. Some of the older, more regal, established diplomats snickering. Lila Mistel turns to you, squints and tilts her head. Before Callum, the rat folk dignitary, the rat folk leader, goes, I'm assuming that Master Brathnak is referring to the shadow that existed before the clasp, I believe. Aye. But that is far-fetched. And I would be much more inclined to believe that the clasp are involved in this in some way. They've been far too quiet. No offense to you and your diplomat. As he turns to you and kind of gestures his large beak slowly. The discourse continues, them breaking into various talks about how to counter these disappearances, increasing boots on the ground in various locations, then being slashed with it being impossible to keep that close of an eye on a wood that's ever changing. And the pushback of people who don't want to worry the overall populace with a larger military force. The menagerie is wild and free. The increased presentation of military force could show a lack of faith in their constituents. The discussion goes on for a while, eventually devolving into more mundane things like spending and future plans for the menagerie and the Colosseum bouts that are about to happen over in the land of Elmloa, if the menagerie wishes to present a competitor, which is quickly pushed to the side as apparently more important things are happening. The meeting ends, the court disperses, and you, Bramble and Aglet, make your way out of the grand high branches and into the main thoroughfare of the capital city of the menagerie. A grand oak tree sprawling above and towering above the rest of the wandering trees of the wandering wood, its roots gnarled and twisting around this stone structure. A carving of a figure that doesn't represent anything any fur folk has seen. No fur, a pronounced nose, hair, fur billowing down one side of its face, cracked and sunken into the ground. The inside of this oaken tree is completely hollow, having a apparatus of zip lines and gondolas and bridges connecting the various tiers of the capital city. While there is no high district or low district, there are trade districts and residential areas. For the people of the menagerie do not section themselves by wealth or capital accumulation, but by that of artistic prowess. Artists reign supreme here in the menagerie, as being an accomplished artist, whether of traditional singing or performance, garners you a position of power. in popularity here.
'Tis quite the strange, lavender voice, quite a strange city from our hometown, but I do find it rather refreshing, don't you, Aglet?
What's that? As they're walking, Aglet is
Shiny.
like, okay, there's
Shiny.
windows there, exit there, open area ahead. Must keep aware of higher forces. Like Aglet's going through his new assignment duties with the same structure and rigidity he had for his chores back at the castles. And so now that he's officially Bramble's bodyguard, and for the time it's taken to travel here, he's kind of gotten a system worked out. With Bramble's comment, he kind of like snaps back to it. Oh, yes, it's a lot more loose than it was back home. I mean, it's your family's art was always very nice as well, though. I always thought it was pretty.
Yes. I mean, Father does love a good painting, but it's really interesting once a society fully embraces. I find it quite beautiful.
It definitely.
But not only their art, they are known for their knowledge as well.
This is true. It does help if they have access to materials, and the materials aren't banned from the general populace, and the general populace gets to actually enjoy them and read them and contribute to them.
Which, as you say this, a weird shift happens. The world around you is cast into a rainbow of colors, greens, purples, yellows, as noon hits. And through the high branches, you didn't notice this at first before it was dark up in those branches before, but as the sun beams directly above the tree, stained glass, baubles, and trinkets, and panes fill every crevice and chasm between the twisting high branches, causing the inside of the capital city to become a twisting gyroscope of color every high noon of the city. And as the colors twist and shimmer around the two of you, music starts flowing up from down below as you look and peer down, for the city is open. Not just in practice, but also in design. The walls of this tree have been carved into, and that is where most buildings reside, but the central trunk is completely free, besides the various bridges and zip lines and gondolas that exist there. And the very base seems to have erupted into a celebration as a maypole and fanfare and revelry erupts, celebrating the brightness of high noon. It lasts for about 15 minutes, the entirety that it takes for the sun to pass that perfect point to catch the reflective sea glass. And as it does, everyone disperses and goes about their day, as if nothing happened. The music still exists, a constant in the city. And you can see children skittering and scattering through swinging through zip lines. Folks about their daily trade, though no money is exchanged. And the world is yours.
Well, my lady, what would you like to do today?
Well, I mean, it's quite tempting to check out all these little stalls and things and just explore, but there's one thing in particular I would love to see. Might be a little more difficult than we would like. to get into, but it is rumored that there is a secret library, and you do know how I love my reading, Aglet, darling.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It might actually be best now because of the distraction of all the additional high officials here visiting. The lord and lady of the house might be a little distracted. Aglet's like walking with like his hand behind his back, like all official, like. And not much has changed about his outfit or his uniform. He still wears his like little scarf tied behind him. He has a couple more layers of armor now, but like he's very much still a teeny tiny little Robin.
Amazing. What weapon did Aglet choose?
Aglet decided on just like daggers, just to keep things like simple and effective. He's still getting used to them as well as that, but he was always used to the general tools of the house and the castle, and so he's used to knives, and at the very least in his head that's straightforward enough.
So, Bramble, how do you wish to find your way to the root cellar?
I suppose checking the perimeter of the grand tree would probably be our best place to start.
If I could ask DM real fast, where are Bramble and Aglet staying? Are they guests of the menagerie, or are they like staying with someone else, or have?
Yeah, they're guests of the menagerie. So they are. Bramble is a official diplomat from the Velvet Clasp. So you have your own private quarters in the diplomatic. There's the high branches, which are legitimately the branches. Each not royal family, but each family head of the menagerie gets their own, or like family of the menagerie gets their own branch to kind of make their own in any way they wish. But right beneath those branches is a ring where all the diplomats stay, so they're close to the court chambers and everything. So your room would be up higher, and then there's just levels down. Beneath the diplomatic ring is then where the trade district is, which is the official trade district where they do a lot of trade with other places. In that sector, money does exist. For if you're doing trade with the outside world, essentially. Below that sector is the residential ring, where most people live within the walls. People either live within the walls of the tree or out in the greater wood. No one really lives in the roots. The roots are pretty known to be kind of the underbelly of the city, where a lot of less than couth things happen. And then below that residential ring is the residential trade district, where money is no factor, where everything is done through trade or service or debt of some sort.
Very fascinating. All right. Well, I think perhaps how long have we been here? Do we know?
You've been here for about a week.
A week. Okay. Cool. And we've been introduced to some of the other diplomats, and
you've been introduced to other diplomats. You guys have kept mainly to yourselves, and have kind of sussed out where to, have been kind of secretly trying to. The first couple of days were very busy as you were kind of run through the entirety of the city and given the tour, met dignitaries of the royal family, and have kind of just been gathering or getting your footing. And today is kind of the first day where the council talks didn't last forever, and you actually have some time in a day to yourselves. There's no initiation, there's no tours, it's just you guys get free roam of the city.
Well,
clearly we need a map for some schematics of the city of the tree. So we can find our way around.
Which you got a basic map, which shows like the sections I laid out before and like where specific shops are. But that map doesn't really have anything about the routes or the secret library you're trying to find.
Yeah. The goal would be to have the map and then look for inaccuracies.
Okay.
From the reality versus the map, because obviously the secret library isn't going to be on the map. So we want to look for stairways and doors and things that are on the map.
Okay.
I wonder if there's someone we can beat the information out of.
Well, you've always been quite proficient with a broom, which are very good for beating.
This is true. I do quite a good clean sweep. But my cleaning prowess won't be very helpful here, though. But I wonder if mayhap we would be able to, because there were quite a few of the other, the younger Musels. The matriarch scares me, but I think the younger Musels.
Intimidating, but I think she might mean well.
Her eyes are like dolls, and they stare into your soul. Anyways, I think maybe perhaps one of her son might be able to assist. What was his name? It started with an R. I can't. He was. I know he was in the diplomat's lines when we were introduced to the family.
A history check, because hypothetically Bramble would know all these people, even though I can't remember.
Yeah, roll history check.
I also don't know if I have Bramble's character sheet.
It's in the campaign.
It should be in the campaign.
Oh, okay.
It's in the unassigned ones, and so like that's where I was able to get aglets.
And they should be all updated and everything. I didn't choose your spells actually.
Right.
We'll see if you need those today.
Win.
That is a dirty 20.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so you know essentially the entirety of the Mustel family, because they are honestly one of the more vocal ones when it comes to diplomacy. While there is no hierarchy within the Federation of the Menagerie, there are some people who speak louder than others. And the Mustels are one of them. Mostly Lila, who you met before.
Yeah.
You have not met any of the other folks personally, except for one of the younger Mustels, which you met Ian briefly in your tour. Kind of when you were brought to the Mustel branch, she was the one who was there, just happenstance, as you were passing through, and gave a kind of brief introduction. But the one Aglet is talking about is Rory.
I'm so sorry with how it's spelled.
You're good.
I decided to go with the traditional spelling, and I was like, I'm gonna put a pronunciation right next to it.
No, you're good. I was like, oh right, these are the traditional Irish spellings. It's fine.
I'm so sorry.
You're so good. Would be Rory.
Yes, Rory. You have been keeping up with your studies, haven't you, Aglet? That's very good that you've remembered.
I take my duties quite seriously, my lady. Anyways, but the Mustels are the most local branch of the Federation here, it seems, and so they seem to know this tree like the back of their palm. So I think perhaps we could inquire about maybe perhaps more information from one of the Mustels.
I think getting an insider's view and knowledge is a brilliant idea.
Happy you think so, my lady. And then back to like looking around every corner. It's like it goes from like a small period of like not being stressed at all to like suddenly being on all ends. I think on their journeys here they had quite a few learning experiences. So constant vigilance is maybe Aglet's watchword at this point.
Okay. So you wish to journey your way to the Mustel branch to try to find one of the Mustel siblings? Okay. So Navigating your way back up through the higher branches, you pass the council chamber doors. The two guards standing there resolutely just sort of nod as you traverse the circular chambers around the circular corridor around and walk past the various branch grand doorways into each of the families. You see the various names of each family that you had just seen in person above each of these grand doors, with each door being of its own make and design, kind of representing either some sort of family history of each individual, or just a general, probably artistic choice of how they wish their door to be designed. As you find your way back to the door of the Mistel family, Kerr, what's the door of your family's branch look like?
All right. Kerr's not here, but
it's true.
Kerr would describe it as something that way too many people made way too fancy and spent honestly overly too much time on his mother's request, he would assume. But actually, it's a double door, large. It's a part of the tree. It was actually carved from that section of the tree itself, so it is original oak to the tree. It was carved years upon years upon years ago by whoever first settled here before the Federation came out to escape the Velvet Class and things such as that. And large portions of it tell stories of the original families, of people that they lost along the way. It's actually a larger tapestry to the history of the menagerie itself, and an ode to memories of what was before when they were living under the Velvet Class. Not that Kerr's paid any attention to it. And so the main focus of the doors, though, ends with two gold-tipped antlers that are the opening of it, and that's separating, being free from the clasp itself, actually.
Beautiful.
So everyone else who comes here for the first time and sees it, actually maybe feels a bit of the significance of stepping into a space that was meant to be a freedom from tyranny. And to Kerr, it was less so. Anyway, you asked Kerr specifically. If you'd asked Aglet, you would have had a bit of a different answer.
That's true. So you walk up to this grand door. On either side stands a small what are they called?
What are they called? Dais?
No. There we go. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Two smaller stoats. But you see that their color patterning is very reminiscent to that of a traditional badger color patterning. My brain was only thinking border collie, and that is not right.
What? Your brain only thinking of dogs first and foremost?
Yeah, no. It's okay. My stream last night wasn't 30 minutes of dog training advice. It's fine. The two stoats dressed in a Victorian style wear, while the city of Almloa is very steampunk and kind of Industrial Revolution style clothing. The menagerie is much more Victorian, with high filigreed collars, corseted waists, and well-trimmed suits. Pretty much everyone is wearing a heel of some sort. Both of yeah, exactly. The stoats bow to you and start reaching for the door before, from the other side, the doors start opening by themselves. Mm-hmm. And there, standing, is a hunched over elderly badger folk. A gnarled wooden cane in one hand, the twisting root of what looks to be a ancient member of this tree, mimicking the gnarled knuckles of this badger that has clearly seen much. Small wired frame glasses sit upon his long, wide snout. The blacks and whites of his fur kind of have shimmered into just a speckled gray across the entirety of him. His wired hair, long, uncaring of being any sort of regal or well-kept status, but just enough not to look uncouth. He starts going forward and then looks up and goes, and then adjusts his glasses and goes,
Good day, my lord. We were coming here to call upon the Mustel family for tea. I just have so much enjoyed my time with Lyra in our council meetings and wanted to know the rest of the family.
Kind of stands there for a second, kind of chewing his gums, and then he raises the cane and shakily points it at you. You now realizing that he doesn't necessarily need the cane to get around, but that it's a help to him. He kind of just points at you and goes, Bramble, yes?
Yes, indeed.
And puts the cane down and kind of taps the
guard, Aglet.
Aglet! I knew it. I remember. You wish to see who?
Oh, simply, we would love to see Rory or Ian.
Yeah.
Oh, Rory.
Leans over. Ian. It's like the bad stage whisper.
Oh, yes.
Though
I was worried you were here to see Lyra.
Oh, we would love for you to join us for tea as well.
Maybe. Let's see if they're here. Kind of turns around and starts plodding away a bit faster than you'd expected him to.
Hey, maybe we can get information from him. He doesn't seem like he's got a lot of wits left.
A little whiskey in the tea and loosens some lips.
The echo of cane against the floor starts dissipating as you notice he's gotten a few paces away from you at this point. Him leading you down the main hall entryway of the Mustel branch. Large portraits of Mustels passed down the walls as you walk through this passageway and up a grand staircase into what seems to be the more main thoroughfare of the branches. Various doors are lined with small little titles on each: library, eating room, grand hall, and then further in, the doors start losing their name tags, and each door starts to be designed in more unique and personal frames. One carved with gears and tools. Another carved with various quills and books and pages. One door seems to be shared by two people. And then one door seems to have been ignored for a long time. As you walk by, covered in music notes and the carving of an old guitar, you see Vern pause for a moment by the door before continuing on. Well, Iron is probably down in her workshops. She hardly ever leaves there these days. But what's the bastard? But Rory is probably in his mother's study. Ever since Currian left, he's essentially been nowhere else.
Sounds like you have very studious grandchildren. You should be quite proud.
Yes. Quite proud indeed. Keeps walking. You pass one door, tall, and from the other side you just hear a gruff argument happening. A feminine voice with that opposing that of a softer, more masculine voice. It quiets as the of the cane passes by, but still is happening as you pass.
Aglet definitely leans an ear to try and see what he can glean.
Make a perception check.
Oh, what is Aglet's perception?
I believe you are an inquisitive rogue, so it may actually be fairly high.
Perception. Am I an inquisitive rogue? I have very specific rogue traits, is what it looks like. My perception is less so. Well, I mean, my wisdom's not terrible, but perception's not bad. So. That was a natural 20. Okay, so my perception's just enough.
Amazing. So you walk forward and slow your pace so that you are essentially a full step behind, but your footfalls still fall in pattern with what they once were. And you pause and you just hear the softer masculine voice go, Lila, dear, we can't keep putting Rory under this much pressure. He's going to crack. We are not doing anything or forcing anyone to do anything. Rory is just determined to fill the role that was left to him by force. You can't keep blaming. I can do whatever I wish, dear husband. Now is not the time. We have more important things than our family squabbles to focus on. That damn bird is getting closer. And then you pass. Pass on.
After Aglet hears that damn bird, Aglet does a full long step, just to be nope, not me.
Progress on and start passing large murals that replicate the story carved upon the door of the rise of the Wolves of Revolution, the treaty made between the wolves and the Mistel folk, and then the rise and fall of the Velvet Clasp. What were you saying? Yes, Ruby?
Within the artistry and symbolism of all of the murals upon the door, upon the wall, would or could Bramble notice any either similarity in themes or even of the artistry that perhaps we have seen in other murals?
Make an investigation check.
Yes. I mean,
we just love to investigate art, you guys. I wonder why.
It's almost like I hide a lot of information in art.
What?
It's like art and media are the main ways that actual history is transcribed.
That's investigation.
So often destroyed.
So
yeah, investigation.
That's a 2.
You're so good at investigating, Bramble. You're so
very pretty.
So good investigating.
While you only rolled a 2, thankfully, the themes you notice are not very hard to find. Mainly because it is a stark difference to the story that you were taught. And much more aligned to the story that you found within the hidden back halls of the Velvet Clasp. The stories align a bit more, though this one does seem to put more of a focus on the Menagerie's role in the fight, and much more on the Mustel's role in the entirety. You progress on and you hear Vern kind of mumbling to himself. And peering in, it seems as if he's verbally retelling the story of the mural as you're walking by. Yes. What would you think of this, grandfather? As he kind of pauses at the mural a moment and puts a hand on one of the figures painted there.
Pardon me, sir, but you seem to be very familiar with the artwork here and perhaps a bit of a storyteller yourself. And some form or another. I would love to learn more.
No, well, it was mostly done by my time. But my father felt the aftershakes, and his father was part of it. Here he is, in all of his glory.
What a regal fellow.
And you see standing there a badger folk in full plate mail, large cape flowing behind him, holding what seems to be a maul, a large hammer made of what seems to be just a giant kind of shattered rock there. He goes, while it's true us Mustels were the grounding force of the revolution, our role in it has been exaggerated. It was equal parts for all of us back in those days. We were all just fighting to survive. The young folks seem to have forgotten that.
Well, I have very much been learning myself recently that you're only as strong as your friends.
And the hand on the badger kind of sweeps over to the menagerie of fur folk behind the badger, pausing momentarily on one small mouse folk and be, that's very true. Well, we're almost to Rory's room. Well, we're almost to Lila's study where Rory spends his time, so it's essentially Rory's room at this point. Walks up to a large doubled door and just with the butt end of his gnarled cane kind of no response from inside, so he just opens the door. Goes, Rory! Did you fall asleep in a book again, Rory? Wake! Starts banging the floor. Wake up! And inside you see no one. Just a large study, a grand desk in the front with a high-back chair, papers sprawled across, books open and ajar as if someone was in the midst of study, and an open glass door that leads out to the balcony behind.
Aglet does his usual like scanning for threats,
Make a perception check.
And then relaxes.
Yeah.
I can't give that much trauma to Kur, okay?
Not yet, anyway. Perception, 13.
13. You do a quick look around, and from what you see, this is a study made for function. While a lot of the menagerie relishes in filigree and exuberance and quote-unquote needless design choices, this study, while still having those flair of artistic personality, is much more designed for, I need this book, it's right over there. I need this thing, it's right over there. It's much more structured.
Very fun.
Except for the desk, which is just a hazard of papers crumpled and folded and written on half sentences. There's about 5 pieces of paper that have one paragraph written across all of them, with half of them being empty, half the page being empty. And you do manage to catch just a little bit of movement from beyond the glass door out on the balcony.
My lady, sir, I believe your grandchild is on the outside, sir.
He's actually getting some fresh air. That's surprising. Rory!
Refreshing, one may even say.
They say the velvet class doesn't have humor. And he walks out and kind of pushes open the door and goes, Rory, are you? Oh, I was too excited. As you kind of turn out and see Rory is leaning on the banister with just a very large mug of some sort of liquid, and his eyes are just kind of glazed over and staring out.
Oh.
Rory, come on. Walks over and kind of gives him a pat on the back. And Bramble, you recognize the spark of divine magic as a lesser restoration spell. And Rory kind of like shifts and sits up and goes, if you keep doing that every time I make a poor decision, I'll never learn. Vern goes, well, that's your mother's job, not mine. Kind of Rory rolls his shoulder. This younger, but not childlike badger, well-kept, fur brushed back, his hair kind of coiffed in a pompadour-esque fashion, wearing a very well-fitted, what were the color scheme of the Mustel family again?
I believe it's like purple and white, like
that's what
purple, white, black, because it's the badgers and then the purple.
Right. Wearing a very well-trimmed, black, high-collared suit jacket with coattails and purple pinstripes down. He turns and you see emblazoned on the kind of chest pocket is the insignia of the Mustel family in a blazing white. He turns and looks at you, leaving the tankard on the railing, and kind of opens his arms wide and goes, dignitaries from the Velvet Clasp.
Bramble, I am an ambassador here. Holding up, huh?
You see, he kind of thinks for a moment and goes, yes. Bramble, your family is in charge of all of the merchants of the Velvet Clasp. You're essentially the, and you see he pauses for a moment and then adjusts what he's going to say, the monetary guiding force of the Velvet Clasp.
Yes, I have been training to precede my father.
Interesting.
But that's something that I'm sure you know very well of. And as the next generation, I thought it would be lovely if we could share a cup of tea.
Well, you're much more chipper than other Clasp diplomats that I've met. Kind of looks past you at the desk that's covered in papers. Let's journey to my room. Thank you for leading them here, grandfather. And Ring goes, oh, it's my pleasure. It's not like I have anything else to fucking do. Kind of goes over and just lounges in Lila's chair and kicks up his feet onto the desk. He goes, I think I'll just take a nap here.
A few papers
You young people have fun. Yeah, a few papers do. He doesn't seem to care. You get the air that Vern is very much retired. Rory kind of walks past you, giving you a nod and gesturing with his hand. The juxtaposition between Vern and Rory, you can see he's almost a mix of Vern and Lila Mustel. He has that air of regal determination, and even just looking at him, you sense that whatever he knows, whatever he's talking about, he truly does know, or at least puts on the air that he does. But you also can sense the little bit of joviality that still exists there, not quite fully crushed by the weight of his name. As he leads you out, Vern casts one last warning, wariness to Rory and goes, try not to bore them too much, Rory. Remember, he used to be the fun one. And Rory just waves his hand back. He goes, yeah, grandfather, I know.
Thank you very much, my lord, for your assistance.
As you walk, you hear the snoring of Vern start echoing from the study chamber as the laughter and jeers of two smaller badger folks scurry across in front of Rory as he goes, Lucy, Rhea, Will you please pay attention? We have diplomats here today. They both kind of turn and
no
pause.
Worries.
They skid to a stop and kind of give a small bow before continuing barreling down the hallways as you both follow Rory into his room, which his room looks very similar to that of his mother's study, though with a few differences. The few differences. While the tall library walls still exist, there's a small alcove that seems to have a just array of clamps and glues and brushes and pages and scraps of leather strewn across this alcove, and in the very center, covered in a thin layer of dust, held in one of these clamps, seems to be a book of some sort. No cover, no binding just yet, but seems to be a book in the process of being born. He walks past it without casting it even the slightest glance as he walks over to a large desk sitting parallel to his very simple cot-like almost bed. Hydrate.
It's been 40 minutes. 800 years.
As he sits and goes, we should be able to talk a bit here. You want a tea? And he kind of looks around and goes, right. We don't have servants. Right.
Bramble have does Bramble have...
Not every one of your characters has a tea set on them.
No, but seeing this stumble and formality that and that he is absolutely exhausted, Aglet takes a little bit of pity for this guy. If my lady, if you two would like to talk for a bit, I think I can scrounge up some tea. I believe I saw where the kitchen quarters were. I could be there and back in a flash. But
always invaluable, Aglet.
The area is secure enough. I'll leave you in the care of Lord Mustel. And Aglet's and then walks backward and then does a quick scurry off towards where he saw some place where he can get tea and water and things like that.
Catching the glance from you, Aglet, you see the slightest break of a smile in Rory's face. He goes, I will guard her with my life. Do not worry. As Aglet literally scurries out of the chamber, Rory shifts to you, Bram, and goes, you're a very devout bodyguard.
He is far more formal than he needs to be when we're in public. In all reality, we are very old childhood friends.
Those are usually the bodyguards those are usually the people who make the best bodyguards. People who actually care. And he kind of make a perception check for me, actually.
Yeah. It's an 8.
An 8? You notice as he says those people usually make the best ones, you see his eyes shift somewhere, but it's so slight that you can't quite pinpoint what he's looking at the time.
I mean, seeing your little siblings running around making mischief reminds me quite a bit of Aglet and myself and our little gang back in the day as well.
Last season.
Last year.
Anyways.
Also, we've leveled up pretty dramatically in the last year, mind you.
Where do you think Aglet's paranoia comes from? You think that Aglet just up and jumped levels without any amounts of paranoia in what probably almost killed us at least 3 times?
You guys made a promise to Scree, and you kept it.
And we did.
At the mention of his younger siblings, chuckles and goes, "Indeed. They're the best of us. And I am to keep it that way."
Well, us as the next generation must make this world a better place.
It's true.
It's a heavy burden, but for the best of us, we must try.
And us Mustels truly are the best, aren't we?
Well, Lyra is certainly formidable from what I've seen of our meetings as of late.
It's funny how everyone always thinks I'm speaking of her. Anyway.
Well, she's simply the Mustel I've had the most experience with, but certainly had me intrigued about the rest of you for sure. That's why I wanted to come and have tea.
She does make an impact, no matter who she speaks to, doesn't she?
Certainly. I'm sure that's quite the boots to fill.
Boots, swords, chambers. Lila Mustel is always the top of everything. But that is why she's so respected and feared even by your gargantuan leaders, isn't she? Alright.
I mean, there's a reason I'm here.
Why are you here?
Have Rory roll a perception to see if he would catch the slight pause before the bluff. Hypothetically, bluff. Not actually a bluff, just there's more behind it.
Let me pull up Rory's stats.
Yeah.
Rory has a character sheet?
Hmm?
What?
Of course Rory has a character sheet.
I mean, I guess I'm not surprised.
When
Anyways.
I say I do way too much work for this.
Yeah. The amount of dedication and just
honestly,
Zatara puts in a lot of behind the scenes work.
Everybody thank your DMs and buy them cookies and send them monies by subscribing to their Patreon. Sir, the Zatara's Tavern. Anyways.
Caught you off guard, did I?
Simply as an emissary, it is my job to come and participate and report.
There is never such thing as a simple emissary from the class. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against you personally, but let's just say the clasp doesn't change, really.
Yes, they have a very rigid way.
Tyrannical?
Perhaps once more than I believe.
And he kind of leans back a little bit. Very well. Then what are you here for, young diplomat?
Well, into the last year, I haven't much gotten to explore outside of the Velvet Clasp, and I am a seeker of knowledge, as one may say. So, as we've delicately stated, the class has a very rigid way of looking at things, and I am here to expand my own viewpoint.
Interesting.
Experience the world a little. outside of the glass.
Most intriguing. Aglet, it's about this point where you find yourself to the kitchen.
I was actually just about to do my own like off-camera perception check or investigation check to try and find like all the materials and everything else to go along with tea. So,
which, as you enter into the kitchen, you are not the only person there. As you enter in and see what you assume to be a worker of the kitchen, this kind of hunched over black and white form kind of rummaging through the various cabinets and pausing for a moment when you hear something before continuing on and searching a bit more.
Alright, so when Aglet pokes his head around the corner to like start investigating, Aglet is tiny, by the way, just to make sure everyone understands. I know we're all animal fun sizes, so we get to kind of say big or small or whatever. Aglet is half the size of Bramble, and she's already like a fairly like middle size small, and so like
yeah, she's on the smaller side as a jackrabbit.
How many screes tall?
About a scree tall is where Aglet's at. Scree has a longer tail. When Aglet has his wingspan out, that's where he's bigger.
Wait, Aglet is by far the tallest of their little crew.
I think
I just realized that. Or Bramble is by
Bramble,
far the tallest.
Well, you've also got the headband. Like you've got the antlers. That's what makes
the
you
ears,
so tall.
The ears and the antlers. Yeah.
Yeah, which her ears are actually a little bit floppy. These are not at all Bramble ears, but they help make it in character. So
we'll work on that.
We'll work on it.
But yeah, so Aglet like pokes his head around a corner like he's like looking for danger at every turn without being very good at being stealthy about it. So yeah, he pokes his head around and like sees this form in the kitchen and then just like skitters in and around and then just like pokes his head up and is like, excuse me, can you tell me where I may find the tea supplies, please?
Fuck! Drop. Ding, 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 ding. The form, very much spooked, stands up and turns and goes, fuck. And in front of you, you see a skunk folk. Broad shoulders, leather jacket with spikes. And goes, hey, yes, I definitely know where the tea stuff is. Give me one moment, kind sir. And kind of does a very unpracticed bow. And turns around.
Why are you bowing to me? Why? What? I'm sorry, no one bows to me. What?
Oh, of course not. No one would ever bow to you. It's just stick with formalities.
Oh, are you also a diplomat's assistant?
Yes.
I'm a bodyguard, so I'm no one gets past me. But it's all a bit strange here.
Perfect. Wonderful. Yes, I am definitely a... Kind of goes and just starts searching through the cabinets, like opening every one down the line until he finds tea stuff and grabs it and just kind of hands it to you on just tossed onto a silver platter and goes, there you go.
Oh, you definitely have never been part of the serving class, have you? No, you have to do it like this, and like Aglet like brings it up and like gets like a napkin and like fluffs it out and puts it down and then starts to set up all the teas. And you have to wait for it to boil properly. Otherwise, if you steep it too soon, it won't taste right. What? And then you have to make sure you also have some like complimentary cookies that go with it as well.
Which, as you're kind of devolving into explaining this, you see the skunk folk, so he starts backing away and seems to finally catch what he's looking for. Grabs 3 very large opaque bottles that have a label that has the Mustel branding on it, and then slowly backs out of the kitchen before.
Oh wait, I forgot to ask. My name was Aglet. What was yours?
No response.
He gone.
Some of these diplomats need really to like practice their training before they arrive. I don't know. Anyway, and then like has the puts like a cover over the tray and then picks it up and then scurries back down the hall.
As you scurry back, you see 2 more stoke guards going, where'd they go? Fucking pither.
Hit there. Someone must have lost their cup. Anyways. Skitter.
you make your way back to the chamber where you left Bramble and walk in to see Bramble and Rory in the middle of discussion. So you're looking for the root cellar, are you?
One has heard rumors, and it sounds intriguing. If not only as a tourist, but a scholar as well. Which, seeing your study, I'm sure you are of the same mindset. Perhaps we could go together. Does a little like...
I haven't been there in quite some time. Honestly,
so it does indeed exist, then.
Of course it does. But I don't think I should be the one to lead you there. I have far too many eyes on me at all times.
It gets quite exhausting, doesn't it?
Indeed.
Perhaps you deserve a break.
No.
You're no good to anyone if you're, well, burnt out or drunk off your ass.
But I am very good to people if I continue what I'm doing so they can do what they want.
That was
and you see
away.
Takes a tankard from beneath and drinks. Goes, don't worry about me. I can handle my lot. As much as I dreaded, I did choose this. My mother may be resilient, but she has her reasons. You should find Iron. She's currently the most free of us, still in the tree. So, and the one
I believe your grandfather mentioned she was in her lab.
Yes, which, funnily enough, is very close to the root cellar. Head down the trunk, bypass the trade district, and follow the scent of burning rubber, and you'll find her quite easily. He rips a piece of paper rips the corner off of one of the various papers on his desk and just scribbles something on it, hands it to you, goes, "This'll make any god shut up."
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't want to be getting into any trouble now, would we?
No, you don't. Understood?
Understood.
And if you do, we never talked. And you forged that.
I solemnly swear I'll eat it before anyone else sees it, if it's not a guard. Sir.
Perfect. Anything else I can do for you?
Well, I know you're more than perfectly capable of taking care of yourself, so I don't believe so. I appreciate your time, my lord.
And I yours. Follow the main path to the door. It shouldn't be too hard if you have eyes. He kind of stands up and starts walking out. He goes, "You going to Elmloa anytime soon?"
We traveled through parts of it, but wasn't entirely on our plan of return, sir.
Never mind then.
Was there...
Just was going to give you a message. But if you're not heading that way, I will find another carrier.
Alright, well, best to you.
Good luck with Iron. She can be a handful.
Any more than you? Well, Aglet
He
whispered
turns
that
and
for
walks
Bramble's
away.
ears.
As he walks out, leaving the two of you alone in his chambers.
Alright, well, here's the rest of the cookies. We should definitely stock up on these just in case we need to make a hurried escape.
I mean, he left before tea.
No, I assume Aglet came in, like, and there was the further conversation, so, like, what?
There's a little bit.
Yeah. Yes, there was a little bit of tea. I mean, there's definitely been some tea, so. Alright. These moose cells are all grumpy folk.
Mm-hmm.
I bet Ian's gonna be just like all the rest of them so far.
I mean, we have been warned she's a handful. So.
Yeah, all these burly badgers. Ugh.
As you make your
you
way...
could take
Obviously. I definitely outrank that skunk in terms of servant skills, so I think I can take anybody here. Honestly. Alright. So, which way do we go, ma'am?
As you leave the foyer, or as you leave Rory's room, enter into the foyer and make your way out of the grand doorway that you entered in, leaving the high branches and taking the various gondolas, zip lines, stairways down to the trunk to find Ian and her laboratory. We'll take a break there. Since we're at our 2-hour mark and it's 12.
And it's 12.
Yeah. And we'll be back in like 10 minutes. Thank you guys for joining us thus far. Go get some drinks, go get some snacks, go Spritz Girl, and we will see you in but a moment.
Hi, it's me, your friendly neighborhood announcer. I am here, manning the stage, guarding us against the tyranny of lawlessness when no others are available on chat. And I thought it would be really funny if I ducked out before popping back up, but I decided against it because I love you guys. And I would never leave you here alone. But most importantly, one of us has to be in charge of the steering wheel at a time, because if we don't, it really does just go off the rails. Anyways.
Hello, everyone. My dice are over there.
We were exactly all back at the exact same time. That's what happened.
We did so good.
We did so good. I'm glad you guys did come back, because I was about to just start showing off my knitting next.
No,
wait.
No, my brain. Please do though.
So I learned a new knit, because this is meant to mimic chainmail.
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe I was getting.
Yeah, perfect. And so that way, I can make something that either looks like is a sweater that has chainmail looking stuff, or I have an idea for trying to make a whole armor thing out of yarn, and this is the beginnings of all of that. And eventually, I'm gonna document all of it. So
it'll be so fucking cool.
It's fine. Apparently, I need.
And where will you be posting that documented footage?
I will probably be posting documented works in progress and like plans and notes and all that crazy shiz on my Patreon eventually.
Oh,
I do. It is the poor bastard child of all of my socials, because I do post stuff there that I don't show everywhere else, but like it's very much like here's my brains, and it's lawless.
Yes.
So, but this one was a lot of testing, so it's still fairly in progress. But hey, we're all back.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm having fun. Are you guys having fun?
Yay!
This is fun.
I think it's really interesting to see like this different side of the story of the world.
Going on at the same time is also fun, not in the past. And like just it feels like it's the special episode, or we're getting peeks at this during the main episodes, like that's where my brain's at, and I'm going to do so much art of this later. So
it's Marina.
I love it.
Can I ha? Nothing. The last time I tried to follow you on Patreon, I was on my phone and it wasn't letting me.
I need to at least make a Patreon account so I can follow you guys.
Oh yeah.
And now I did follow.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
And it's great.
I mean, I do eventually post stuff to like Ko-fi after that, especially if it's my written stuff. It's mostly just the written stuff. It goes on to Patreon, so it's all there, mostly organized, and then I post it to other places if it's like this. I can also post to other places. But anyways, that's just me. All the things, all the places. That way I don't have to pay for Dropbox. Anyways.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh. It's a scam. It is a scam.
Life is a scam.
I have a Dropbox from like high school that is because I got like a free account from my class that is like 10 times over limit for storage, because now I don't pay for it anymore.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I know.
It's also just a weird time capsule at this point. But anyway. You make your way. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
You make your way down the zip lines and gondolas, spiral staircases through shifting color palettes of stained glass, the flares of fires from both glass blowers and kilns and just blacksmiths as you walk down these various sections of artistry throughout the entirety of the city. Essentially, everywhere you go in this grand city of the menagerie, there is some sort of art happening, which is going to make it very hard for Kerr to come home if he's still cursed.
I mean, that's the only reason that's going to make it hard for him to come home, obviously.
Oh, yeah, that's the only reason.
The only reason.
Only reason.
That's why they're wet.
No other reason. As you reach the ground floor where before you saw that celebration happening at noon. It's about 2 now. You sat and chatted with Rory for a bit of time, not really learning anything too much. A lot of it being very much just kind of tense communication.
Polyspeak.
With Polyspeak, with some good information given, and possibly the inklings of an ally from seeming vibes you got, essentially. As you enter the main floor now...
It's vibes. We're taking it slow.
It is a hub of trade. But a trade that you're not used to seeing, being from the Velvet Clasp, a very capitalistic place. There is no...
I believe the word you're looking for is hellscape.
Hellscape.
This here is just alive. Not with the clink of coin or the bartering of worth, but with the exchange of goods and trading of talents. You see stalls set up like an ever-present farmer's market, some carved into the walls of the tree themselves, some more pop-up and shifting, some roving around, and others just folk of all sorts, mostly woodland folk from what you see, those who reside in the trees and the shrubs, as in the shrubberies, as you see a molefolk walking around with a strapped serving tray that kind of is shaped to the shape of his belly, as he's walking around going, "Would anyone like some fresh turnips? We have carrots, we have potato. Anyone, any sort of root vegetable, willing to trade for construction work or honestly a nice massage. Either one would be good." Other folks working out commission for commission, with a painter working with a claymaker to exchange various goods. Finding your way through, you ask around a bit. Potato! Yeah, it's your cameo, Tato.
They've been here the whole time.
See one of the potatoes the mole holds up just has little arms and legs. Does that have legs?
Not anymore.
Uh-oh, what did baby break?
It's not baby, it's Ari.
Oh no.
It's always one of the cats.
It's him.
I believe a hairball's happening. Anyway, the sound of a cat not having a great day is happening behind a corner as Aglet, you look around and just see... In the markets back home, you're used to kind of feeling an air of anxiety as you go through, because the tension is just so high, because money is so value and it's very lacking in the main city. It's essentially the poor are the poor and the wealthy are the wealthy, and there is a huge gap between. Mm-hmm. So you're used to a marketplace being a place of intense negotiation, bartering, and even slight undertones of violent threat. But here, all the bartering is jovial. There's some tension here and there as people value their skills more than others, and there's a little bit of sentiment and ego behind those skills. But in the end, a resolution is always reached. And both sides seem... The funny thing is, I can just hear Ruby talking through the wall. And just going, boy! Boy!
Yeah, boy. There's a Saga.
Yeah, Saga's sitting in place.
Saga joins game.
But it's it's a breath of fresh air. And it tempts you to veer off and explore, see what these trades offer, and maybe even offer a trade yourselves. But instead you focus in. Your job as bodyguard you take seriously. Mm-hmm. as Bramble comes back from around the booth, she disappeared, helping the poor cat folk that was having a hard time. And you start asking around for directions to Ian's shop, which isn't very hard. The first person you walk up to, a hefty squirrel folk, gray in coloring with a wider belly, wearing very simple clothing, a buttercup sleeved kind of cream colored blouse with a light lavender blue billowing skirt at the bottom. Goes, oh, Ian, yeah. She's she reaches up and scratches her ears and then kind of fiddles with the tufts at the top. Right, so the trees changed its root structure again, so some of them have shifted. So Ian's route is now, if you go east and then follow the twist and star down, hers always has a bit of a really hefty scent of burnt cinnamon because she tries to hide the chemical smells. But you'll know you find it when you hear the loud clanging.
Thank you very, very much. I'm sorry. Did you say that the root structure shifted?
Oh, yeah.
They do that?
Yeah. Actually, this tree here is the only one that doesn't change position. There's lots of theories as to why that is. But it just changes its root structure around a bit, gets a different grip on the big rock we're sitting on. The other trees of the wood actually move and shift, so it's honestly not as bad.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why you really want to scent tag your home, just in case the tree really wants to wander far that day.
Noted. Thank you very much. But you, is there yes. Thank you. The Aglet seems just doesn't know what to do when there's no like tipping service or like quite so much.
Anytime, glad to help. Always feel free. Please don't hesitate to ask for directions. We've all lived here for most of our lives, actually. So
it's very beautiful here. It's a bit different. We've been traveling a while, so home is different for lots of reasons. But it's lovely to visit here. Thank you for the information.
Yeah. Here, and she hands you these small little walnuts that seem to just be wrapped in twine that can kind of like swing back and forth like a pendulum, but the walnuts kind of shimmer with this slight amber tone. She goes, these are my specialty. They're a small little energy boost in a walnut. They're technically just candied walnuts, but I use sap from one of the more rarer trees that if you eat it, it'll give you a small boost.
Thank you. We don't have much else to like trade back though at the
no, that's fine. Pockets. I wouldn't have. Nice, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't have offered if I wanted something back. If I wanted something back, I would have made the trade known first and then given you the thing. But this is just for your time and to welcome you to the city.
Oh, thank you.
They look like quite a delicious snack.
Yeah, I've been told they are. That's kind of why they're on the dangly thing. It's kind of a game for some of the kids to swing them around and kind of try to huck them into each other's mouths. So I don't think some of the parents are upset, but I mean, the kids were going to do it anyway, so I might as well make it out as something that they can eat.
Well, as long as there's no broken teeth.
I am not responsible for that.
Thank you again.
Anytime. Good luck. Careful, Iron can be a handful.
What kind of handful?
Oh, you'll see.
All right.
And she kind of, before you turn away, she kind of gets close and goes, you'll soon learn that each of the Mostels is a bit of their own special version of handful.
Good to know. See what we need to know. Thank you again.
I love how Aglet just goes like,
Weaknesses.
You venture forth. Roll a nature check for me, or no, a survival check for me, whichever one of you wishes to, or both of you. As you try to follow the instructions and garner the right path to the root of iron.
My roll was not great, so it will take us a while. What was your roll, Ruby?
That's an nat 20.
Hey,
good. I got it too. So,
hey, that's kind of been the game so far. It's been nat 20s or nothing.
Or nothing.
Really,
we've been soaring up these nat 20s since the last game. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Aglet, as you're kind of focusing in and plotting and deducing what those cryptic words meant from your new squirrel friend, Bramble, you kind of take a second to examine the world around you. You being a very studied student of both the magical arts and the more earthbound arts, as you have a special taste for druidic magic within you. You analyze the tree, kind of go over and brush your paw against its bark, and you feel the cats are just trying to kill you today.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Not in the usual way either. It's straight up just mischief.
Yeah.
God.
You feel that this tree is different from the trees back home. While you're not a full-blown druid, those are fabled to no longer exist in the world of Teleday, or is seen as odd offstarts and wild, crazy people in the mountains who claim to be them. You still have essence of that magic still exists and can be tapped into, and through your studies have found a way to do so, as the trees back home felt not dead, but tapped, tired, exhausted, alive, but just existing. While this tree here feels alive, awake. You can feel it pulsing and shift, and as you look, it seems as if it's even constantly moving as it is, as you focus on the walls themselves instead of the structures built upon them, and the wall kind of turns slightly. The top of the tree tilts and goes back. And indeed, the roots shift. Slowly. Faster at times, but slowly. So that if you exist within the tree for the entirety of your day and life, you probably wouldn't notice until you realized you were walking a different direction than you normally would. And you follow this through the pathway, down the twisting stair once told, until you smell that charred cinnamon smell. And here, coming from down the chasmous root, cling, 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 and assume you have found the right space.
Well, based on everything we've been told, this Mustel is probably the most troublesome of all of them. Alright, we gotta go in with our dukes up. No mercy.
So that's what people would have said about our little crew, which, not that they're wrong, but
That's true. We are, our crew, our trio was the most fearsome of all the trios of all that could be trioed.
Perhaps a pebble from the same pond.
Pebble from the same pond. You venture down, your voice is kind of echoing as you descend into the root system. The sounds of the outside world slowly disappear. And it's just replaced with the ever creaking, or the slight creaking sound of wood. A howl of wind. And of course that cring, cring, cring. As you make your way to the door, and here sits a fully solid iron door. Charred, bented, and kind of jarred, but closed and currently locked.
Aglet starts like touching it to make sure it's not like hot, and then just like looking around for like what is the most convenient thing to pull on to try and open it.
It does just have like a normal like curved handle that you can pull upon, and
with my -1 strength, just I pull and it just starts to lift him up off the ground.
So it just starts doing a pull up. Not opening.
My lady, I think it's impenetrable. We may need to find another way in.
I mean, we could always try knocking, though the noise, we may not be heard.
Yeah, I think I can be loud about that. And then just like straight up does like peck, like at it. Like almost, it's more of like a headbutt than a knock at this point. But his beak is his sharpest, hardest part.
That's amazing. Give me 1 moment.
I'm gonna take 1 damage. All right.
So you give a solid, the sound echoing down the chamber, and it takes a couple tries, because a few of the times you go to peck and knock at the door is in rhythm with the clang from the other side. But as soon as you time one in opposition to fill a gap of the clang in the missed beat, the clang stops. And you hear
it was locked. As I knew it was.
As the door opens, and behind you see, silhouetted with red glow behind her, a broad-shouldered, heavily gloved, fully iron-masked, towering badger form.
Aya, I presume.
Which, as you ask, she goes, "Hi!" Kind of slinks down, opens up the mask, and you see beneath a scorched, just dirty, cheeky grinned face of a badger similar to that of Rowan you met upstairs. Yeah, that's me. Yes, you found me down here. That's interesting. Didn't expect that. And it takes a second to look you over. Notices the antlers on your head round. Goes, emissaries. Rowan sent you down here, didn't he?
Indeed. He said perhaps you could be more help than he could.
I bet he fucking did. Come on in. And you turn and see that the red glow is coming from a large open-ended furnace that is just blaring heat. But across from that, there sits a small table with a spread of finger foods that has been partially eaten through, a bottle of wine, two chairs on either side, and the rest of the interior is fairly homey, besides the various work tables that have an array of tools and gadgets that most of which you don't recognize and a lot of which look handmade. Goes, well, take a seat. Careful of that, and that. Don't touch them. I don't want to cause any problems with the Velvet class, so just don't touch them.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
All right. So why did my beloved brother send you here besides to free up his own time?
Well, I mean, he was freeing up some time plenty well. Anyway.
We were...
He was saying that he would be more than delighted to show us the root cellar.
Oh, did he now?
Yes, as he has not been there in years.
And that you were much more knowledgeable about it than he was.
Well, he's not wrong. Part of my lab actually enters into the root cellar, and I use their books all the time for my research. But yeah, no, sure. If Rory sent you down here, then, and with that, then sure. He usually doesn't fuck around, so maybe he's actually trying to get something done this time. Let's see. First off, hold up. Hello. I'm Ian Mustel. Third in line. To third, right? Is it third? Did I miscount? Yes. Yeah, third. Yeah.
But it's Rory and you, isn't it? Or did I miscount? Did I miscount?
Oh, yeah, no. You didn't see any of the... well, she kept them up. You haven't seen any, but anyway. Yeah, no. I got an older brother, Curlian, off doing kind of, and she pauses for a second and pulls out a small notebook and opens it up and goes, currently in Amloa, actually, doing some stuff there.
I'm guessing it's another, like, Aglet leads over to Bramble, probably another stuffy one, just like Rory.
Or an emissary like that?
Ah, definitely an emissary.
Oh yeah, an emissary. Definitely an emissary. For sure. Let's go with that.
Well, it's I'm Aglet. I am a bodyguard and emissary servant to Lady Bramble.
Oh, we love the 3-for-1.
Obviously.
Okay, spotted that.
My family is head of merchants there in Velvet Class.
Oh, I bet.
And we've been a bit of have heard Lady Bramble wanted to investigate and have sights of the library in the roots, and so that's why we were asking. And
I figure if we're going to be traveling, we may as well learn and expand our knowledge as we do such.
That's fair. At least you're not. But never mind. Won't make that comment. What information are you looking for? Specifically, you don't have to tell me, but like you are going to see, and I do know where things are in the library. And honestly, if I don't like your answer, I just won't show you. So
I'm specifically interested in history, actually. That's been my main source of research as of late. I'm interested in all sorts of things. I actually wouldn't mind learning more about what you're studying here, too. You know, one scholar to another.
Fair. I mean, I'm not really a scholar. I'm more of a tinkerer. Books are just the easiest way to find that information. So I actually try to read as little as possible. I'm actually trying to design a machine to read for me. And just like spit it out into the air, but that's complicated, and I don't feel like spending that much time with another person to do all the reading out loud for me. So
that's what I was going to suggest. So never mind that.
Yeah, that's fine. Sure. History is very broad. Every book down there is essentially history. So what specifically? Like, I'm doing the history of like technology and like things that were destroyed by the Velvet Clasp and the She Who Came Before.
She Who Came Before?
Oh yeah, She Who Came Before. Oh, you don't know about She Who Came Before?
I'm just not sure I've ever heard that terminology before.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what she's called, really. At least in these books down here. She Who Came Before.
Spooky.
I know, right?
Well, I have Can I insight check?
Insight check what?
Yeah.
Mine.
What specifically are you trying to glean?
Her openness, but also digression. Not digression.
Discretion.
Discretion. Thank you.
Yeah, roll an insight check.
At your service.
Which inside? Just Bramble. That's an 11.
So good.
So good.
We're so good at gleaning.
Maybe I'm not great at reading people. That would, make sense of the years of Bramble believing all of the Velvet propaganda.
She's just a baby X-Cult member.
Oh.
What did you roll?
An 11.
An 11.
It's not too bad.
From what you're getting, it seems as if Ian is fairly just being matter of fact, not necessarily hiding anything, but like just giving the most efficient like route to information.
Like I'm trying to glean like how much of a blabbermouth and like where she stands on the gaining further information about Velvet Clasp. Because also like it's fairly taboo to do research. Like all the murals and stuff we found were hidden.
Mm-hmm.
Like the flow of knowledge is very controlled in the Velvet Clasp. So Bramble's a little paranoid about this knowledge that you're looking for.
That's fair.
She knows it's forbidden.
Bramble is seemingly acting like nothing you're talking about is out of the ordinary.
History of the coming of power of the Velvet Clasp, as well as history of the creation of the menagerie. Any possible ancient wars in the lands of the Velvet Clasp, particular warriors or heroes.
Interesting. Aglet, were you saying something?
What? Aglet like gets like a little close to Bramble. Like I think the Mustels seem like they don't like to talk to people much. Any of them, honestly. So I think if we ask her to kind of keep it hush hush, or ask for a blood oath to keep it hush hush, I think we can make that happen.
Blood oath might be a little far, Aglet. But, yeah.
Never hush.
My father disapproves of my enthusiasm for world history. So if we could just maybe not spread around that I'm looking for this information. Parents, they always get way too dramatic. Persuasion.
Persuasion.
It's the two of us just staring at her intently, like, please.
What'd
you get?
This is like, it's Bramble's like main fucking thing. And even with my additions, it's only a 12.
I got a 14, so it's not bad. We're so persuasive.
I need to pull out different dice. This is rude. Freshly painted, but no.
As you like go into a little diplomat speak to try to convince Ian to keep it hush hush while also guiding you the way, you just see Ian kind of keep that same half grin, focused in on you look through the whole thing, and then the half grin turns into a full smirk. She's like, "You diplomat types are so funny." Come on.
Okay. I think we've intimidated her enough.
So intimidating. We're so scary at like half her size.
I think we're maybe the best diplomats from the Velvet class ever, and it makes sense that we're like, this is whisper. It's because we're like working to find the truth of the like clasp. You know, like we're actually like looking for the truth and the secrets. That's why we're the best ones.
Oh, clearly. But
There we go.
for resistance, we must be very stealthy until our numbers are larger.
Until our numbers increase and until we overthrow the aristocracy. Anyways.
As you have this hushed conversation, you enter into a larger chamber, exiting out of the root structure and into a more cave-like system, but one that has been carved out and reinforced to withstand a great number of things. The ceiling arcing up about 15 acorns tall, and the chamber itself being about 100 by 80 acorns large. There are just rows and rows of bookshelves and also display cases, chests, various things around that all seem to be sectioned off into different quarters. Ian leads you past a few. You see that some of the chests have been popped open and things have been rummaged through and taken out. And the only entrance you see to this chamber is the one you came through. So you walk through and Ian goes, yeah, I found my way in here when I was trying to expand my lab, which honestly, great breakthrough. Really has helped develop a lot and kind of changed the direction where I was going. Much more into the tinkering realm. And also some of the treasure I found down here made it so I could pretty much just be self-sufficient. So that was nice.
Love a serendipitous discovery.
Yeah. Like there's plenty of blacksmiths in the city, but there's not many tinkerers. So most of the kit and caboodle you see around here was either made by me or shipped in from Amloa. Yeah. But anyway, what you're looking for is and she takes out that little book again and flips through some pages. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 4. 7 row 4. Okay. Over here. She leads you through to a shelving unit that has a wide array of books on them, varying from general history of Teleday to more specific histories of Teleday, and then there's another section that's essentially partial information, where it's only bits and pieces of various information and stories that is incomplete, essentially. And then the top seems to be kind of more the coalesced, cohesive version of all the broken text below.
Who made this library, or who keeps it?
Well, I guess I technically keep it now.
You're the keeper of the books? That's a great honor.
I guess. But I don't really know who made it. Well, actually, and kind of walks over, and there's on the wall, there's like a language that is written that is unfamiliar to you.
Except
Bramble,
for our Bramble.
Yeah, Bramble, make a history check.
That's an at 20, baby.
We are only getting 20s and like low middling rolls. Like that, there's no like, oh, that was a nice roll that we buffed up. It's no. It's only 20s and it's only zeros. Basically, this is crazy.
So essentially, as you look at it, it doesn't look familiar at first until you start recognizing very specific caricatures. And then you realize it's a language that is known, but is very ancient, essentially. It's like an ancient ancestor of the current current language of the mouse folk, essentially. And it will take you some time to translate. So you don't instantly know the translation, but you see the cipher there, and you can like copy it down.
While Bramble's doing that, Aglet goes over and starts looking through books to see what might be interesting to Bramble.
Nice, make an investigation check.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Aya, for leading us here. It truly was such a help. If we can do anything for you, please don't hesitate to let us know in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Well, for now, you can just leave me be and don't touch those things I don't tell you to touch. When you leave, let me know, so I don't think people are still here. Are you guys heading to Amloa anytime soon?
The second Mustel to ask us that.
Really? Who's the first?
Who do you think?
I don't fucking know who you've talked to.
Oh, wow. Well, it was your brother, actually.
Really? Fucking knew it, that bastard. Well, so I guess was it a yes or a no to him?
Well, we weren't particularly planning.
It's not currently on our travel plans, though we may go in the future. Ambassadoring takes us, honestly, farther than I ever expected to travel. So, not on the books, but hopefully at some point. It's a city I'd love to see.
Which you noticed after you said no, that the attention very much quickly dissipated. And she waited about halfway through your sentence before she just slowly started backing up the stairs. And then by the time you finished, she was gone. She's like, all right, thank you. Let me know when you leave.
These Mustels seem to be able to focus on one conversation.
I just don't think they're much of the conversational side.
Maybe.
What was your investigation check?
I had a 15 total.
15. So looking through, they don't really have titles per se. It's kind of location and estimated time period. So you find the section of time where where Westerall is mentioned, and then you also find the time period you're probably looking for.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Just keep getting distracted by the giant handful of dice Ruby's got. Just the bludgeoning amount of dice at this point.
And you give that information to Bramble.
This one. Yeah, cool. Here you go, my lady.
Flip. Interpret.
As you flip through it, roll an investigation check. -3.
-3?
No, I'm kidding. Okay, I was kidding that was your modifier.
Oh my god.
No, it's a 0.
I mean, that's better than a -3.
That's a 10.
Amazing.
Okay. So it takes you a while. But it's not like you would miss something, but it just takes you a while. As time passes on, every so often Ian comes down with a small plate of the finger food she was having from above once she realizes that you were going to be here a while. She brings down some refreshments. They do smell slightly of like burnt wood, but still happily accepted. As you read through just the small excerpts, handwritten notes, some bits of people's diaries and just bits and bobs of tablets, art, everything that was collected about this time period that you're looking through. There are a few things that stand out. You see She Who Came Before a few times, mostly in referencing to why the Velvet Clasp is respected and why the Velvet Clasp has its position as like the conquerors and heroes from She Who Came Before. And some conversations and missives between folks about possibly these heroes being worse than those they conquered, and maybe it wasn't a saving but more of a conquering situation as the Velvet Class took over. And then more kind of just discord amongst the time period. There are a lot of conflicting information too, because it's just all information from that time. So it's regardless of which side of the conflict it was on, it is there. You see missives from the Velvet Clasp that talk about the prestige and debt that Teleday and these other folks owe from the threat that was vanquished. And a lot of the normal rhetoric that you hear, but now, like, as members of the Velvet Clasp, you were taught that the Velvet Clasp, like, conquered a great evil, but that the Velvet Clasp had always been here. So the main conflicting information that you're seeing is that this great evil wasn't like some monster or something, but another power in the world. When the like great evil has always kind of been ambiguous. Like, it's the way it's referenced, it is either a single monstrous identity or like a hive of creatures is kind of how it was always, that were sweeping over the continent and taking it for themselves. But in this information, every missive seems to make it more of a power or another identity that was on Teleday at the time that needed to be overthrown or saved from. As you continue on and get more towards the overthrowing of the Velvet Clasp, you do start to see the mention of the term Luckfolk popping up. You see Luckfolk emissary from Westerall arrives today, asking for aid in a different hand. Luckfolk hero saves one of our battalions, could open new diplomatic avenue. Further on, you start seeing mentions of actual strategic planning. So, a missive, the wolves have struck, the war has begun. Now, we must decide whether we act now or let them handle it. Other missives of the rat folk have joined them, spurred on by the luck folk, their brethren. It's now a battle between the wolves and the mice versus the elkin folk. And further on, a more accurate but very disjointed history of all the murals you've seen both in the Velvet Clasp and here in the Menagerie. Is there anything specific you're looking for here in these books?
with the mentions of, I don't know if Ruby has anything else in particular, but I know Aglet and I are kind of curious about she who came before, right?
Yeah.
Those like cryptic mentions of her so far here, and probably like the infrequent maybe having heard along this way, even from back home. Aglet's kind of just looking in this giant space and curious about what might be found. And maybe not exactly in the history sections, but like kind of wandering around and sees if there's any more like mythic sections around as well.
Okay, make an investigation check for me.
I am not doing well with those, but we're gonna try.
You're gonna do great.
It's the main searching one. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I'm gonna use a cur dice for that. That's what I should do. That's why I'm rolling as well for that. Ooh, that was 19.
Hey, there we go.
Thank you, Kurt.
As you start stepping away from Bramble, feeling fairly secure in this space, you just start poking around at various sections, looking at the walls, the various books and chambers. You start kind of opening up some of the chests. And it's in one of these chests that you find a smaller chest. That's a mimic. No.
A chest within a chest.
Amazing. And as you take out that smaller chest, you see that it is locked. But around the outside, it is a small chest about yay big. And the top is it's a metal chest, but the top is lined with this purple velvet and then gold bands that outline, that kind of border the box and hold the velvet in place. And on the front, on where the lock is, it's that same velvet and gold band pattern, but stitched into the center and then around the lock is a golden threaded bramble or briar.
How to open this?
Bramble will pull a large pin from the bun in her back in the head and just look kind of like as reading, hand it to Aglet, still like looking over her book as her hair kind of like falls down, covering some of her ears.
Gorgeous.
Anyways, back to it. All right, takes the hairpin and starts trying to pick the lock or like see what kind of like opening he needs to try and get done. I'm trying to use the hairpin that Bramble gave him to like see if he can like pick the lock or like unclasp, however the Bramble locks work.
Roll a sleight of hand check.
Hold on. This one I have a bonus in. Hold on, let me look at this. There we go. Okay.
Dang, yeah, you do. Holy shit.
Yeah, I do. Bramble's only good at, or Aglet's only good at very specific things, and we're gonna use.
Guys, when you start out young and you hyper focus it on something,
and you don't multi-class.
Let's be real. Scree's crew was very neurodivergent.
And only had very select set of skills.
Screes was being a hero. Aglet's was also kind of being a hero.
Okay, that is a 14
very Kobe.
Total. With a +9, that was a 14 total.
That is not bad.
It's not. It's better than it's been with without the pluses.
You stick in the hairpin and you twist and turn, and you haven't picked locks a ton yet, but the locks you have picked you are very good at. And you can tell just by the way that the tumblers are moving that this lock is well worn and that there have been a few failed attempts on it before, but it's left the lock loosened, essentially. So using your skills, you manage to pop open the box. And inside, there is a tuft of white fur and a leather-bound book. The book itself is that same purple velvet with gold banded trim. And on the front, inlaid in gold, is the title Gold and Brass, A Tale of Enmity.
Gold and Brass, A Tale of Enmity. Hmm.
Coming back to the table, Aglet sits down with like the the chest of the book and just like pops it open and grabs a cracker.
I love that. I love prop work. I'm a sucker for it. So a slight little dust cloud emits onto you, kind of getting in your nose a bit, Bramble.
Oh, well, that's an old one you got there.
Mm-hmm. It's less of the history ones. It was a little bit more difficult to get to as well. So, by all accounts, it means it might actually be more valuable. So, if we want to, we might try and steal it too, just to see if we want to maybe pawn it off later.
I mean, it really only seems like there's one person who cares about books down here.
That does seem to be the case, which is a little bit sad because it's quite lovely, honestly.
It is. Maybe we should take a few.
You think it's okay if we borrow from the library?
Stealing from the library of Alexandria.
Borrowing.
We're just borrowing from the library. We would never steal. After having specifically said
never.
This one
Not from a library.
Never.
Having fun isn't hard.
But I've got like some creepy feelings from some of the mentions of the lady, she who came before something, and I kind of want to just look into it. What have you
like
found?
All these history books are more or less just running in circles, and nothing's really definitive, which is really frustrating. I thought we'd maybe find some answers here.
It's nice to have a more thorough account though, compared to what they taught us back home.
True.
But yeah, I might look at this one though.
All right. So,
could I maybe have my hairpin back?
That was gonna be a question to me.
Oh yes. Here you go.
As
We're all
you
about prop work.
Bun back up your hair, and
all
you
puns
start
intended.
Reading.
All puns intended.
I think we're funny.
You start reading of a tale that you've never heard before. Inside this book unfolds a tale of two sisters, highborn hares who were gifted. This one. Yeah, there we go. Highborn hares who were gifted with the wonder of magic. The one hare, a pure white with accents of gold, gifted with the powers over death, she was often referred to as kind, those treated with an air of caution of the unknown. The other, fur of jet black, with rich veins of brass woven betwixt the fibers. She ruled over the powers of life. Her empathy was a blessing to all around her, and she was lifted to near godhood by the people. Over time, the sisters grew apart. What started as a companionship that was thought to be unbreakable to an animosity fueled by jealousy and anger. The alabaster sister banished herself to the shattered peaks of the eastern shores, hoping removing herself from the pressures and endless judgmental glances would relieve her of her demons. Sadly, it did nothing but embolden them. She fell ever more into madness, delving into the more nefarious and vile aspects of her necrotic gifts. As more time was spent within the loathsome slate halls of her mountain home, food was scarce, and she learned of a new power she possessed. The story goes on to describe how this sister went to raise an army of creatures to whom she bestowed her gift that swept over the land as does a heavy snow. A fateful battle between gold and brass, of gold defeating brass but being left forever maimed, and of a land that was choked by briar and shadow thereafter. Searching over the book, there's a small note inside that is written in that same language that you saw before on the wall.
This is an interesting story. Bramble, did you have any luck with the cipher?
It's a little tricky, but I have figured it out for the most part.
There's a little insert here. I don't quite know what it means. I can't read it. You're better with the letters anyway.
Is it like a written in the margin, or is it an insert?
It's like a piece of paper that was like tucked in to the very back of the book, like where the leather is curled under. It was kind of like tucked into that.
And based on the state of the paper and the leather versus this insert, probably what's the age difference between the book and the insert?
Ooh, good question.
Make a intelligence check.
Bramble, you're so smart.
Or let me check if there's any specific skills that may... I
was gonna say it'd be ironic if it was like actually a leaf insert into the.
Oh my gosh, that'd be too cute. Please, yes.
No.
Done.
There's a type of magical tree that produces leaves that are dry, that when dried are basically paper.
It's just birch bark.
Right.
Yeah, roll an intelligence check.
A 13 then.
13? Okay. Being able to age paper difference with any sort of specifics is always a little tricky, especially with something exceptionally old or seemingly exceptionally old, which as you flip through the pages, they are wafer thin. The kind of pages that if you look close enough, you can kind of see the tips of your fingers through.
Ooh.
And this paper, while thicker, you can tell they're both old. And obviously with the text on that matching the wall is old, but you can't quite tell how much older the book is than the paper or the paper is in the book. You can just tell that they are both old. Very old.
And so what does our leaflet say?
Let's see. Make a...
Oh, we're going to need a good roll.
History check.
Oh, thank God it's history. Okay. That's a 12.
12.
I should love it when our buffs are so buffing for the low rolls. We buff into the middle.
Having not fully figured out the cipher of the wall yet, and knowing that you're going to need a bit more time. Hey, Bramble is great, but intelligence is not.
Actually not. He is like...
Wait a minute. I was just double checking some of my like skills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've specifically called something called an eye for detail.
So
it's called use a bonus action to make a perception check to spot a hidden object or creature and make an investigation check to uncover or decipher clues. Could I assist and give Bramble advantage, or could I add on like a little bit to it?
Roll an investigation check with that.
As a 17 plus my investigation is 2. 19.
19. So as you know, as Bramble's looking over this paper, and writing. You notice you start catching the small, being a good bodyguard and a loyal friend. You start noticing her anxious and aggravated little ticks that she does.
Her nose starts to twitch a specific way.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of start looking over the shoulder and using what she's found out already, and then analyzing the paper, you start matching the different insignias and symbols and small little nuances that change it, and you both start to see a pattern finally form. And what you see is a note that essentially reads,
You know that feeling when the DM had like a loose idea for a prop or a mythos thing, but hadn't quite had it written out yet?
At least it's over now. Let's try to make it so this tale doesn't repeat itself. Then, like the little squiggly line,
Like a signature?
Dexion.
Dexian?
Dexion.
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 Dexion. Okay. Interesting. Okay. At least it's over now. Make sure.
Well, now we're obviously cross-referencing the name of Dexion to the other texts we've found.
Ooh, smart.
All right, make an investigation check. What? It's what you wrote in the search for things.
Oh, it's a 7.
It's a 7. There is not a single mention of Dexion anywhere in these books.
Ooh, okay, but there's like nothing of a mention of Dexion in these books. That's fascinating, all by itself. I wonder, and like Aglet's trying to like see things this way because we're coming from where information was specifically censored to an area where they're actually trying not to quite censor it, but it's just that they're very careful and like about this library. Could Aglet deduce if that is like a bit of that same censorship or a bit more of that like careful staying to the shadows kind of like lack of reference? I'm trying to infer basically. Yeah, like I'm trying to insight that.
Insight check the room.
Insight check history of Teleday.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Insight. Okay, I have a +4 to my insight. So let's do my like an Amos dice. That feels appropriate. That was 13 plus. Was that +4? I just said for insight. Yes, 17.
Nice.
All right.
Thank you, Aglet.
All right, we're coming in. Aglet, coming in. Coming in.
You look around the chamber and trying to deduce what, in a place where information seems so readily available and they try not to sway it from what you've seen, besides the little bit that all victors of history do. It seems strange that they would hide such a reserve of ancient knowledge and lore. And as you look around the chamber, your eyes fall on the text on the wall again. And now, with you guys having a completed cipher, you can read it as, to all who came before, and to all who will come, protect this from those who would destroy it. And then at the very end, there's just a slew of about Ooh, how many? There is a slew of 8 names at the end. They seem to all be signatures of some sort carved into the wall.
And so, less easy to read names, more or less signatures.
Mm-hmm.
Does one of the signatures match the one from the little leaflet?
The Dexian?
No, it does not. But you do see the name Musto. And Cairn, and Boren, and Callum, and McKellar, and Ern, and Brethnock.
I think we're
and
gonna.
Then one extra name, the 9th one.
Ninth?
Ends.
9th?
Yeah, the 9th one.
What's the 9th name?
Digging up the right lore sheet.
So much like this is the lore heavy episode, and I cannot wait for KJ to watch this back.
Oh my gosh,
and absolutely lose their minds over all of the lore. Ruby, we're such good lore seekers. Look at us. Look at us uncovering so much lore.
We are the lore whores.
We are the lore horse. Bramble and Aglet actually really are like great little investigators.
And then the last name, Candlewax.
Fucking knew it!
Wax?
What?
Wait.
Candlewax.
Candle wax?
The one word. Candlewax.
Candle wax. Candle wax.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we both know both a candle and a wax in different areas of Teleday, which are definitely not at all related to each other. So
I mean, technically, you have information that they could possibly be together, but
not that. The only thing we would probably catch on to is wax for Bramble and Aglet, though. And even then, it's like, oh,
make a intelligence check.
Another intuition check.
Hey, that's an 18.
Okay, nice.
Bramble pays attention to her friends.
That was a 5 for me specifically. Candle wax. Oh, okay. Interesting name.
So, obviously, you catch wax, but also could be a thing, could not be a thing. So, what would you like to do next?
Well, about how long have we been here?
You have no idea.
There's not really any sunlight.
You've gone through quite a few candles.
Well, Bramble would have cast light.
Okay. Never mind then. You have no idea.
That's even worse. Now we don't have any candles to measure by.
Yeah.
Well, I believe it might be time for supper in any case. And there's a loud gurgle from Aglet's stomach. The little snacks that Ion had been bringing down have been like picked clean at this point. Literally. So, I know we were joking about, or maybe not joking, talking about taking some things out. I think maybe we should leave them books here, though. This is, some of this feels like it might be important.
I think perhaps we should even relock that box.
And maybe put it in a safe place. Yeah. Okay. So like puts it back in.
Or
looks for like that tuft of fur that was in there as well, actually.
Yep.
Looking at it before Aglet puts it in, what kind of fur does it look like?
As you pick it up, there's white fur, and then as you turn over, it seems as if there's a sprig of black fur in the back too. And it just feels. Make a nature check.
Do I have any advantage over like bunny fur because of traveling with Bramble?
Which Bramble will have been like taking notes and like she has.
Which you can use that special. Oh yeah, you can add. What do you add for your like special investigative stuff?
For in eye for detail. I don't think it's an ad. It's more of like I can bonus action do stuff for perception or investigation. I wanted to see if I could assist when I was trying to help out.
Yeah,
with stuff.
I'm gonna say you can roll with your proficiency. So +5 +3, so +8.
Oh, +8. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then that's a 15 total.
Okay. You pick it up and look at it, and traveling with Bramble for so much, it's that stiff, kind of wiry fur that is similar to Bramble's, though a bit longer.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right, and so tucks everything back together into the box, puts the fluff back on top, closes the book, and then just like lets it like reset to relatch it, or is like reaches out for the hairpin again.
Agla just wants to see her hair tumble down.
Beautiful. It like reaches out and then like looks at you as you like do your like hair toss and just like, anyways, before you like nose back, and then like kind of like tries to like relock it and then like tries to reopen it and it's like, okay,
easy enough to do. Seems secure enough. Do you put the box back in the chest you found it in, or do you put it somewhere else?
In the chest we found it in, because I mean someone else seemed to have put it there in the first place, and it's already locked, so it seems to be okay. It's safe.
All right. You put the chest back, and then depart to find food.
Yeah.
Yes. What? What is it, Bramble? What is it, Bramble?
Oh, I just don't trust you.
Okay.
I think we're in the information gathering episode, Bramble. I think we're not in the trauma dump episode. We get to just have fun references.
Guys, all your backstories are done. I don't have to traumatize anyone anymore. Definitely not these two innocent, non-traumatized characters in front of me. So you go to find food?
No.
Zatara, don't make me a liar.
No.
Maybe we can go talk to Ayan then and just like talk to her some more. Or some of the other diplomats might not be a bad idea, and we can be amongst
Bramble
them.
is
when something happens, when something does or does not happen.
Seeing the like full translation of the protecting this place and the realization that her home is not as grand or as safe for those who seek knowledge and truth. Will actually take the box. She'll allow it to be locked up again with her hairpin, but will take the box with the book and slip it into one of her large pockets in her floofy pants.
It is like a box like this big.
Oh, I thought it was like...
You were reading a book at the time when Agla found it.
Well, it's a book inside of a box, so the box
it's a
is
book inside of a
big. So that's because it's like a good sized journal. It seems like.
So it's large. So hiding it would be a task.
I can carry it in my packs if you'd like me to, in our bags. No.
Roll a d20 for me, Aglet.
I'll roll with my geodice, of which nothing bad has ever happened on these geodice at all. That was a 12. What am I rolling?
It was just a roll.
Oh, just say a roll? Just a straight roll?
Yeah. Well, since I rolled a 5, you were in fact granted a handy haversack for your journey to the menagerie. So your handy haversack could indeed fit the box.
Okay.
Okay. So haversack now has a very, very special lore book that has been hidden in this library for who knows how long. Nothing bad can go wrong now. Any other books from the library that we want to borrow?
I think that's it. This is etching on the wall, right? How big is this, like, with the signatures and stuff?
It goes across, well, not across the whole wall, because it's just the walls are big. It's a big chamber. Probably like 20 feet. It's big. Like the text is
And
large.
how much are the, like, actual signatures? Like,
that's probably like a foot by a foot.
Okay. So Bramble would take a rubbing of the signatures themselves and just write down what the rest of it says.
Cool.
In her notes.
Wonderful.
Do you ever think you'll have a book down here one day that you wrote about what's happening now? Or that you'll add to some of the books that are here?
No one would want to read my journal.
No, I think you have really good writing, and I think you're really talented, and you have great handwriting also. So I think that's totally gonna happen one day.
Well, who knows? Maybe our little crew could end up in the history books after all.
Totally. I bet Scree's already out there doing really awesome heroic stuff.
As he does.
But yeah. All right, let's go. All right, so thank you. We should probably say thank you to Ian for letting us in, and she did say to let her know when we were done in the library.
Yeah.
I know I'm not typing anything. Okay. So you head back and find Ian.
Mm-hmm.
You head up and she is no longer there. There's a little note on her workbench that says went up for dinner.
Oh, we have been in there for a while.
Yeah. I'll just kind of with the note been like scribble onto the end of it and like going for dinner too.
No, Scree's a hero. He's a hero. Why would anyone say otherwise to his childhood friends? Anyways.
You leave a note, close the door, and venture back up into the branches to find other diplomats, grab food, whatever you like. As you're walking around. What?
No.
It's very suspicious. Is there anything else that you want to do?
Is there anything else you wish to do as you venture up on your way to the upper branches, ultimately to get dinner?
Eat one of the candied walnuts just for a little boost of energy. And like, we are very hungry. We spent a lot of time snack.
So you delve into, you go back to your quarters and kind of go to the dignitary hall, food hall, which is also on the diplomatic ring. Entering into the large cafeteria-esque grand dining hall decorated chamber, you see other diplomats from Umloa, the Yule Court, the Gazakt Mountains, That's the wrong mountains. That's a different world. The mountains where the Cloven Summit resides. It seems as if there are quite a few dignitaries here. Seems to be uncommon. You delve in. The food has a spread of a variety.
Are there any other people from the Velvet class?
Not that you see.
Okay.
You know that the Velvet class doesn't send out too many dignitaries. They mostly, more often than not, all the other powers of Teleday only really directly commune with the Velvet class or their emissaries during the womp 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 womp. I wrote it down somewhere. Where? Oh, I don't remember where I wrote that down. I'll have to find it. But essentially there is a summit that happens every year where either royals themselves or dignitaries or diplomats from all of the nations all meet in a citadel that resides over the central you can't see it, the central kind of intersection between the three main rivers of Westerol. There's a citadel that is built in the center of that whirlpool that kind of bridges arc out and go onto where the summit is held. And they all meet there and converse and talk. And essentially, it's the yearly check-in of all the powers of Tele to be like, we're not going to kill each other, yeah?
Yeah.
Essentially. And that's usually when most of the other powers of Teleday communicate with the Velvet class directly. So the fact that you were sent as emissaries to the menagerie is also why you may have been getting a bit more questioning looks being here, especially you two being so young. So
good for us, though. Not much questions or not much information to go back about what we're up to. At least not up front. There could be spies everywhere.
Everywhere. So you chow down on food. Munch, crunch, the food is delicious. And then you hear kind of coming up from the bottom, and you see a little bit of concern break through the tension of the dining hall.
Yeah.
Let's Aglet turns to whoever's where we ended up sitting closest to this time around. What are those alarms?
Not another celebration like High Noon, was it?
Ooh, that's not the one I thought it was. Oh, well. Where'd it go? Here we go. And as you say, a celebration, the dignitaries get a bit more on edge. You start hearing some chattering, and then a Bitterong clad in heavy shoulder pauldrons and kind of lighter armor opens the door and goes, dignitaries and diplomats from other powers, if you would all please follow me. We need to evacuate this area and move a bit further below. So, gather your belongings, any that you can, and meet back here within 5 minutes. Agreed? Some other dignitaries come up. You see these two more lithe, burrowing owls. Their flat heads kind of dressed in these ornate robes walk up and go, excuse me, is everything all right? We were just about to return on our way home. The Bitterong turns and goes, yes, well, there's just a figure coming from the west. and we are unsure what it is. So it just passed over a lower without any sort of issue. So we just wish for you to be prepared. We would just wish to be prepared in case anything untoward happens. Which the two owls look towards each other without moving their bodies. Their heads just kind of turn, and they nod and turn back and go, very well. Thank you for your concern. We appreciate the Menagerie's ever-present worry of our safety. The other dignitaries get up and start filing out.
We should get somewhere safe. Then let's follow the rest. I don't think Aglet would have put much in their rooms. They've been traveling late anyway. They don't have a haversack, and so it's been nice to sleep in a real bed, but it's fine. But while they're walking, Aglet does just start to check his weapons and just be okay, they're there, and just tries to keep himself from popping up, and actually tries to keep his breathing calm so he stays small.
Okay. You file to your room. You collect your things, your very few things, and you start filing back to the main kind of atrium where everyone's kind of gathering. Here at the base of the diplomatic ring, there's stairs that go up into the high branches where all the royals live. And it's from there where you hear and the whole tree kind of worried looks, more Bitcheron guards file in along with badgers and the rest. We're upping the timeline, folks. Grab your things and we're and from above, sunlight starts pouring in. The setting sun of the rays of the setting sun from the west now breaking through as the two of the branches crack and start falling from the tree as these large black talons grab the edge of the tree, and in peeks the jet black head of a gargantuan raven. Two of the Bitcheron guards charge at the raven, and it just swings its beak, and they plow into the wall and collapse to the ground. From the stairway above, you hear clatter, and from the stairs you see Lila Mostel, clad in full plate mail, wielding that heavy mallet you saw from the mural earlier. She looks at you all down and goes, "Leave now. I don't fucking care how you do." And just charges and leaps off the stairway and swings, landing a heavy hit right on the beak. You see, as soon as the maul impacts with the beak, just like a shattering crack splits along the beak, and it from another access of the stairway, you just see a flash of gray fur and a small leap and latch on to kind of like the open ear hole of this gargantuan corvid, as you see the leader of the wolf of the Bourne family wolf, clad in this jet black leather mail, and on his back these two large scimitars. He latches on with his beak and just swings them around and stabs in. Families of the royals now start billowing down the stairs as these two heads battle, and the large raven rears back launching off the tree and just bolting up into the sky. Lady Mustel and Lord Boren still clinging to it as it escalates and circles above the tree. You see Rory run down, look up and goes, God fucking damn it. Looks down towards you and goes, we gotta go. Come on, everyone. Behind him, Vern is stumbling out with the two twins kind of holding him up and helping him down the stairs. The other family members of all the various royals start escaping, and as you start being shepherded down the tree towards the roots, you just see how do you say Irish? Niall?
That's
Niall.
That's Lyra's husband, yeah.
You see Niall run down, himself clad in kind of half plate, half breastplate, half leather. So it's one metal pauldron and then a breastplate that covers one and down and then leaves his other arm free. He pulls a large, he pulls a oversized compound bow from his back, or recurve bow from his back, and just starts letting off shots through the hole towards there. And you just hear him go, Rory, you're in charge. And he kind of circles down and to get a better view as Rory goes, fuck, and guides everyone, him shifting his tone and stance and climbing to the top of the stair you're all going down and instantly taking a leadership position as a few other of the older children of the royal family stand by him and help him kind of usher everyone down. It's smooth, effective. The leadership of the direct oldest descendants of these lords and ladies, putting their training into immediate use and guiding everyone down. The cries from above echo, and you see that the sky has started to darken almost around wherever this creature flies, as if the longer it exists, the leaves at the top of the tree, as you billow out of the base of the tree, climbing down the outsides of the roots, being guided to some unknown location. You see the leaves at the top of the tree, already orange for the changing of the seasons, start withering. As the form of this raven, wings spread out, barely not reaching either side of the top of the tree, as it nests in the high branches and looks around. And you descend below into the shelter bestowed to you. That's where we'll end today's session.
Son of a bitch!
Didn't get to do the scene with the Raven and Amloa, so it's going hard here. I see.
What do you get? I told you where it flew.
There was the letter from the menagerie. Remember that Kerr intercepted, the one that got to Amloa from the pigeon, and that came with like the key and this is great. I didn't think this was what. It's fine.
I forget who it was, but someone said, I watched where the raven flies off to. And I said,
that way.
Southeast.
Yep.
So, what a great place to end this episode of events. Especially since it'll be another like month before we play campaign story again.
And then even longer until the crew finds out what's actually happening in the menagerie.
Oh, absolutely. That's the best part, I think, is that
We're
me
here
and
for the long
Ruby
game.
get to just suffer for a little while, and Kerr especially gets to just suffer in ignorance. Anyways, I thank you. That was awesome. That was so much cool lore.
Yeah.
It was so fun to come back and be Aglet again. A little burb boy.
Little bird boy.
Little
They've
burb
grown so much.
we've grown so much. His anxieties has definitely tripled.
Yeah.
Little poor guy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was awesome. Is there anything we need to announce or segue to? What's it? Thank you, Sirenscape, and like
thank you,
StreamYard,
Sirenscape and StreamYard and Emily
Arcane
Sterling and Kevin McLeod and Arcane Anthems for the music today.
Yeah. We're online at all the places. You're watching us on Twitch or on YouTube. We've got an Instagram and TikTok. We posted those, and we'll continue to do that.
We have the backlog of all our videos on YouTube, so you can catch up or see all the crazy things our DM weaves through the entire storyline.
Yeah, join us in 2 weeks where I'll probably do another one shot or play games.
Yeah, good stuff.
So that time we'll most likely be joined with our lovely Ruby and our archfey themselves, KJ. And we'll have another little duo stream.
Great stuff.
Or trio stream. I exist, I guess. But
you facilitate.
I facilitate. But thank you all so much for watching. Thanks for all the resubs and all the bits and for just chatting in chat. We love seeing all of your reactions and expressions. It's one of the main reasons we use StreamYard is so we can do things like this and pop your comments up on the screen. So thank you all so much. I don't have access to the Twitch, so I don't have the ability to raid anyone. I can see who's online. A little behind the scenes, KJ's phone is the one that's connected to the Twitch. So every time any of the rest of us log in, we need the code. And to be fair, they sent me the code, but it's just too late now.
Literally, no one I'm following is live right now.
Not even the ice cream. Not even the ice cream sandwich.
Ice cream sandwich. No,
they're all doing things.
Yeah, they're all doing things. I think that they were like taking a break week as well, or a couple sessions. In any case, like just because it's the summer and it's everything else. If no one,
so instead of raiding, it's instead of raiding, go outside, go touch some grass, and more importantly, go touch some moss.
Go touch moss. Good.
Go touch some moss, guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in a bit.
We love you lots.
Bye.
Bye.